Hey, how's it going, boys and girls? This is Brad the Guitarologist here. In this video, we're going to continue the work that we had done recently on this Epiphone Valve Junior amplifier. I kind of discovered while doing the demo portion for this amplifier that it was a little bit noisy, and I wanted to kind of see what I could do to go back in and lower a bit of the noise. Now, this is the first version of this amplifier, and some people were telling me that the second version, which I've actually done a video on the second version, I believe it was already, was a little bit less noisy. But I think I discovered some reasons why this one might be so noisy. So yeah, let's check this out. Okay, so I'm sitting here messing around with this thing, and it's really just noisy at idle. You know, some of it might be the equipment up here on the desk, but I wouldn't expect it to be quite this noisy at idle. So, you know, there's just hum. It could be the output tube that I put in it. The output tube was a used output tube, frankly, so it could be that I just need to replace that. I will try that. But if that doesn't solve this humming issue, I think I'm going to get back in there. And some of those extra wires for the transformer, I think I might remove some of those or cut some of those back so that they're not quite so long and they're not bundled up inside of there like that. And I also think I might go in and increase the size of that reservoir cap up to maybe a 47 and then test the other ones and make sure that they're okay. I'm putting a piece of tape over this in case somebody ever reaches back here to change tubes or something. They won't accidentally, hopefully they won't accidentally hit their hand against that, because that would give you quite the jolt if you did. So just keep in mind that's what that tape is for right there. Okay, so I was listening to some tunes while doing this, so I'm going to have to do some voiceover and mute out that background music. So, but you can see here I'm just clipping the tie that was holding all these extra wires together, and look at how many of them there are. There's just, I think there was one for a 100 volt input, one for a 220, a 230, I think also, and maybe even a 240. It had all the different voltages listed on the transformer itself. I think I end up showing that here in a little bit, and we'll take a look at it. So right here, I'm just kind of pulling these wires through these grommet holes because I want to clip them off underneath the chassis where they're kind of back down out of the way. Now, this is definitely something I would suggest you do to yours if you own one of these, because this is a lot of extra inches of wire. And this is wire also that's going to carry AC voltage on it. So, I mean, there's potential, there's AC potential there on these wires. I don't know what kind of fields that is really setting up, so it's best to get them out of the way. Now, you see those orange wires right there? Those are the filament wires, and I actually thought twice about shortening those, because those would add noise as well. So, but instead of cutting it and shortening it, I decided to give it a little better twist because they weren't very well twisted. So I decided to just go ahead and give those a little extra twist there. But they probably could have stood to be cut a little shorter, stripped back, and just soldered onto those terminals. Would have probably been a little bit better approach. And this probably isn't going to be the final time that I get back in here. You know, I mean, like I said, this is something I'm sort of doing for a friend. This isn't for a client, really. But the amp has been with me for a while, and it's kind of been sitting to the side, and you know, I've kind of been promising him that I would do it, so I sort of owe him. But like I said, this probably won't be the last time I get in here and mess with this thing for him. Someone in the comments pointed out, and rightly so, that the output transformer had been replaced, and I already knew that as well, that the output transformer had been replaced. But one good indicator that it had been replaced is the fact that it was changed from a 4 ohm to an 8 ohm secondary. So you can see here on the bottom side where I've pulled these wires through, and what I end up doing here is just cutting these off kind of as short as possible and then shrink tubing them, to kind of get them out of the way. But you can see those extra fuses. There were like 3 different fuses. I pointed it out in the first part of this video series, and they don't need to be there. You don't even really need the fuse holders. I was actually contemplating cutting off the fuse holder and using it in something else because, I don't think this dude has any intent on ever moving to Europe or somewhere with this thing. So it's probably best just to get rid of those. But I could at least get rid of part of it and then shrink tube over the remaining portion of the fuse holder. Just to make sure nobody sticks their fingers down in the end of it accidentally or something like that. But you can see here what all of these wires are. You can see the black right there is 0 potential, so that's the ground, and then you've got 100 volt on the white and 115 volt on the yellow, which is the one that's in use. Then you've got 230 volts and 240 volts also, so there's a lot going on there. Then you've got some 12 volt winding and a 6.3 volt winding also, and it looks like also a 260 volt. So lots of different voltage options in this power transformer, and I would say probably that's one of the reasons why this thing is so noisy. There's just a lot of taps and a lot of different wires going in every direction here that just really are not needed. So here you can see I've cut these wires off, and we're going to shrink tube those. And like I said, this is definitely something I would highly suggest you do if you have one of these first generation Valve Juniors like this. A lot of extra wires that was up inside the chassis that just hanging around there, for no good reason really. So we'll shrink those down using the heat gun. And if you don't have a heat gun, you could use a lighter or even, the side of your soldering iron. I kind of do that a lot too. So here we are on the other side with some larger pieces of shrink tubing to cover the ends of those fuse holders that were left. And I would definitely recommend doing this, if not with some shrink tubing, at least with some electrical tape or something, because you don't want to leave those just dangling there. There is an off chance, that reaching up in there feeling around for a tube or something, you could get your finger into one of those, and that would be a bad day if that happened. Especially on the red one, because I think the red wire carried 260 volts potential. And that's AC, so yeah, that's on the bad side of things right there. That would be a bad day. So you can see there everything is wrapped neatly, and we only have the one fuse remaining and only the wires that we need out of this transformer remaining. See, none of these wires are twisted. We had way too many wires, first of all, and then none of them are twisted, second of all. So it's you know, I don't know. I think the lead dress on this is just kind of poor. Okay, so I think that's an improvement. Now we've got the line coming in, and the ones going to the transformer are twisted, so that's much better, I believe. I don't know if this choke is. It actually might even be adding to the noise if it's not the appropriate value. I don't know. But let's plug it back in and see what it does now. Maybe it'll be improved. Still got a little bit of buzz, but we're out here on the desk too with no shielding. So, I don't know. Might be a little bit better if we get it back in the cabinet. But it doesn't seem like it's as bad, though. I have to say. I think I might parallel in a 22 across there and just see for a second across that first node. Okay, so I'm paralleling in another 22 microfarad capacitor. Oh, but it is way quieter though. Way quieter. Let's listen to that. That does improve it. Oh man. Okay, listen. Always love that. That cap is definitely an improvement. So I think I might parallel another one in, and we'll do that because this definitely sounds better. It's tighter on the bottom end. It might be hard to tell that on the video, and also it does lower the noise